Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl with yellow feathers in her hair and a dress cut down her there. She would merengue and do the cha-cha.
You can bridge diagonally with 0 CPS, just like cha-cha bridging. But it can be tricky to learn, even if you already know cha-cha bridging. But once you figure it out, it is super fun to do. Alright, let's begin the tutorial. For starting the bridge, you're using the same basic principles as a normal cha-cha bridge, where you jump backwards off the edge and wait to hold right click until after you start to fall. But it does differentiate from normal cha-cha bridging in some pretty important ways. So here's step by step what you have to do. Your back should be facing the corner of the block you're starting from, not one of the sides like with normal bridging. And you want to be looking at an angle of about 65 to 70 degrees, roughly. Then hold S and jump backwards at the edge of the corner. But you're not just jumping backwards aimlessly. Where you fall is very important for landing on your blocks properly for the bridge. For the bridge to work, you need to keep a straight angle with the starting corner. If you don't keep a straight angle, it'll cause blocks to later be misplaced. You also need to land on the second block. Jump backwards too far and you'll overshoot your landing. To avoid this, release S after you jump right as you start to fall. I recommend pre-placing the first 2 blocks to practice jumping and landing in the right spot. Now for placing blocks, aim your crosshair at one of the sides of the edge. It doesn't matter which side you choose, do whichever comes naturally. Right after you release S and start to fall is when you should hold right click. You can see with the keystrokes that I'm also using my strafe keys. This isn't strictly necessary, as you can diagonal bridge without them, but I found that it gives me much more control over starting and holding my bridge. So here's step by step what I do to start the bridge. Holding S, I walk backwards to the edge of the starting corner. Still holding S, I jump backwards and press D to strafe away from the corner. I'm going to be placing my blocks on the right hand side of the corner, but if you're placing your blocks on the left hand side, you'll want to strafe away from the corner with your A key. Then, right as I peak in jump height, I strafe back towards the starting corner. And just as I start to fall, I release S and hold right click, and then release A. So one more time, I hold S, jump, tap D, then tap A, then as I start to fall, I release S, hold right click, and release A. That's everything for starting the bridge. It'll take some attempts to figure out, but once you get consistent at it, you've overcome the hardest part of the bridge. Alright, now let's talk about holding the bridge. For holding the bridge, you're going to be moving backwards with S. And just like with starting the bridge, holding S for too long will cause you to overshoot your blocks. You need to regulate your speed by briefly releasing S after each jump. Here's how you do that. After you've released all your keys and placed the first 2 blocks, hold S, strafe keys, and spacebar all at once right before you land on the second block. Hold all of those keys until you hit the peak of your jump. Then release them as you fall. Now just repeat those steps. It's important that you get the timing right on this, or else the bridge won't work. If you release S too late, your blocks won't be placed, and if you release S too soon, your landing block will be misplaced and you'll fall. It'll take practice to be able to recognize bad spacing, but if you do, you can correct it. If you're getting too far from the bridge, you can get closer by releasing S sooner and for longer than normal. And if you're getting too close to the bridge, you can do the opposite and hold S sooner and for longer. Another thing you can do if you're getting too close to your bridge is to slightly lower your crosshair. It'll reduce the amount of time your crosshair spends looking at the top block, which can prevent a block from being placed there. You can also use your crosshair to avoid placing the top block, which is more efficient but requires more timing and effort. Something else your crosshair can do is mirror the orientation of your bridge. This can happen when your crosshair is lowered to the side of the landing block. If this happens on accident, just keep the bridge going and it'll correct itself. So that's how diagonal cha-cha bridging works. I recommend using the diagonal maps on Bed Wars practice. The distance presets can help you to push how far you can go with the bridge. I also recommend trying to practice starting the bridge in a variety of ways, like by building up or mixing it into other bridge types. It'll take time and patience to master, even if you already know normal cha-cha bridging, but it's a very fun and unique bridging method that's worth learning. I hope this tutorial helps. So thank you for watching, and thank you to Turnk and Jane4356, whom I learned about this bridging method from. Bye. Also, while uploads have been sparse lately, I still read comments, and I'm very touched that some of you want to see more videos. And I'm happy to report that more uploads and guides are on the way. Alright, goodbye now.